Hey you guys, okay, the part you've all been waiting for, we're getting ready to do. Our piece is all done. It's nice and square, ready to go. So we're just going to set it in place, and now what I've got to do is make sure that I center this so I can feel when it falls into my little grooves here. Alright, and I've done some preliminaries. There we are, it just popped in. And 3/8 of an inch from the edge seemed like it was right. So I've got my square set up to 3/8 of an inch. We'll run that through and get it squared up. Got to go back and forth here just ever so slightly to get it right. Alright, that looks pretty good. Now the edges here, I can maybe move it right about there. Alright, now the width on this is just over an inch. So I'm going to call that a 1/2 inch. So 3/8 and a 1/2 inch would be the center. Will be 7/8, 7/8 of an inch. So that tells me that I've got to cut the biscuit 7/8 of an inch in and a 1/2 inch in on this from the outer edge. So that's what I needed. Those are the measurements I need. So I'll be back to set up the biscuit jointer. Oh, well, I'll grab it. So on the biscuit jointer, this part here sits on the table. So the measurement I'm going to be looking for, let's see if I can do this by hand. I usually use oh no, I've got to have it inside the saw. So what we're going to be doing is measuring from the bottom here to the bottom of the blade once it's installed to get the depth for cutting the biscuits. So I'll do that next. Thanks for watching. There you guys. Okay, so we're using size 0. I had to adjust. You have to adjust your biscuit. Number 1 is to the height, and I want to be a 1/2 inch. So I'll drop this all the way down to the table, just like that. And that'll give me about a 1/2 inch. You've got two screws here and here to adjust the depth. So I thought I was recording earlier, but I wasn't when I went to go to my test cut. So we're going to do some test cuts on this piece here just to make sure that I get the right depth so that my two boards can come together evenly. So I'm set up for 3450 is my RPM. Go ahead and run that. Okay, got our first cut right there. Okay. Now we'll take the two, put them together, putting them together, and I will no, that didn't this one didn't go deep enough. Let me see. Basically, I got to play with this on the setup. That should have been deep enough like that. Oh, it was. I'm sorry. No, not quite. I've got a little bit of a gap there. So it's not quite deep enough. And I think it's because this cut didn't go all the way in. Let me try that again really quick. I always try to do my test cuts. So, oh yeah, that's what was wrong. I guess I didn't push in far enough. Well, but I can see light through here, so it's not quite deep enough. So now that we've got that off, what we do, we got to just back these off just ever so slightly and let it lift it back up a little bit. The other way, like I was looking, that Nick Angler did for the face cut wouldn't work because my piece of wood is so thin it was going to be hard for me to clamp it to the tabletop. So what I'm going to end up doing, let me back this off, back that off, just about that much. There's little setup marks on here to go on, but I never found them to be totally correct. So this is the way I do it. I just do my test cuts first to make sure. So we'll drop it back down, start it up. Try this again. This went in just ever so slightly deeper. Ah, there we go. No sunlight. So that's the right depth now. You have to kind of move this back and forth too to find that center spot. There's a little bit of play on those, which you want. So that works for that. And now, in order to cut my piece, I don't know if you remember this or not, but in order to cut this one now, the reason I was looking at the face was because this was so wobbly. And then I remembered a long time ago, I built a log slicer right here. So what I'm going to do is use this as an extended fence, and I'll clamp right here. Clamp my piece to here, and then use this to push it in to cut my biscuits. So that's in a nutshell. I'll go ahead and show you guys me cutting the actual piece, because this is important to have that nice and stable when you cut it in, because you don't want it to be real loose. So anyway, 3650 is where I set it at. The unit says a minimum of 2000 RPM and a maximum of 4100. And on my Power Pro, the 3650 is what I use for my saw. That's pretty much everything I do, pretty much is at 3650, unless I go to like cherry, which burns pretty fast, so I'll slow my speed down a little bit on that. But that's it, how it works. And let me know in comments. It'll be after the fact, but if you guys want me to show you more on that, let me know. That's what I have to do to set it up and make the cuts. It's not that difficult. And I like this thing versus the ones you can buy in the store that are handheld, where you have to secure the piece of wood and then push the handheld into the wood. This way, I like it. The blade is not moving. You know, you push your wood into it. I like that. I feel like I have more control than trying to push into a piece that's been clamped down to a tabletop, because that piece could slip, or if it grabs, you don't have your hands on it. I don't really like that. I like having my hands on the wood. So, thanks for watching.